Hello everybody, my name is Garrett Rossi. I'm a third generation owner and operator of Peppermill Machine Shop. We've been on Instagram for several years now, and I've had a lot of people wanting us to do a YouTube page. I've been pretty reluctant to do it, only because I know the welding community on the internet's a pretty toxic one. But just so everybody knows up front, I will not put up with rude behavior on my page. There will be no trolling my page. If you want to do that, you go somewhere else. I will delete you in a heartbeat if you're not respectful. I'm not here to try to convince any of those kind of people that my ways are the best. I'm simply here because there seems to be a demand for people wanting to see my stuff. I'm here to teach the people that want to learn, and if you don't want to learn, go troll somewhere else, or I will get rid of you. So if you can be respectful in your comments and nice, that's fine. I don't mind you disagreeing with me. I disagree with others, but I don't go on their pages being rude to them, and that's what I expect in return. So that being said, today we're going to be building these. These come off some farm equipment, off of a disc, and they go together. That one slides inside the other. It bolts and it locks them in place so they can't open. And what it is on that disc, the gang, which has all the disc and the bearings on it, has a housing that has these two ears that come through here. And that's what holds it in place. But if these are able to open, well, the disc gang falls out. So somebody had built them some homemade ones that were faulty. One was built backwards, so it didn't lock in place. It was like this, which when it goes like this, there's no lock to it. It has to be this way. And so we're gonna build them two of these. So that being said, I'm gonna take y'all outside now and show you exactly what it goes on. Okay, so this is the disc. All your framework's up top. The rod that runs all the way through here, this is your gang, okay? This is what we're building. These come through and they bolt to the framework and it keeps this in place. You can see one here that's been taken off. Your bearing is inside of this housing, and each side has these. And that's what's going through those, okay? This was one that they had built. It couldn't move because the bolt would stop dead right here. But these were cut out kind of sloppy, so it was able to turn, and then those rods, or those, whatever those are called there, would come out of this hole. So one was built like the one I showed you. This one was built different. This is a little better design, except it still did have one fault to it. So they just want to rebuild them the way the ones were from the factory. So that's what we're doing here today. I just wanted y'all to see so you can understand. We'll go back in the shop now and start on that. So these are factory, like I said. They have worn out once before. If you can tell right here, there is a weld there where they added these on. These were probably built out of one solid piece, maybe out of a piece of angle iron, I'm not sure. We're not gonna do that today. We're gonna piece it together, but I like the sharp corner look, which is how I like to do things anyway. So that's what I'm gonna show you how to do today. All right, I'll show you how most people would probably go about it, but I'm gonna show you how I do it because I like my work to look good, and the customer appreciates that too. Even though you might not ever look at this or care, it shows what kind of person you are by what your job looks like. We have our pieces here. This is going to be this one here. This is the one on top. All right. So a lot of people will take it and put it corner to corner and fill that up. Okay, but that leaves you a round finish. I don't like that. I want a 90-degree finish. So in order to do that, they have to come out flush. But can I just weld that like that? No. I have to bevel that. If I were to weld that up, just butt weld them together, well, I would need to grind my weld off to make it smooth. But if I did that, I'd grind my weld away and it would just break. So we have to bevel it or grind these corners into a V and put all that weld inside. That way I can grind it smooth and make it look like it never happened. So that's what we're going for today, okay? So this is 1/2 inch plate. This is 3/4. You're only as strong as your weakest point. So there's no need to bevel this 3/4 back all the way. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna do a 1/2 inch bevel, all right? So on top, I'm gonna go 1/4 inch here and 1/4 inch here. 1/4 and 1/4 is a 1/2. But on this side, I'm gonna go a 1/2 inch down, all right? Now, that's just me eyeballing it right now, but I'll show you how to mark them. We're gonna start with these 2 pieces first. Like I said here, I can eyeball a 1/4 inch. This is what I do for a living, but for those who might not, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. Take your straight edge of some kind, mark it. Okay. Well, that's going like that. So I'm gonna have to do, this is 1/2 inch plate, so I'm just gonna go halfway. Mark it halfway, put my straight edge on it, mark it. All right. Here, we're gonna go down 1/2 inch. Which leaves us a 1/4 inch on the back when we're done. This one, we're gonna come down half. This doesn't really have to be exact, but like I say, trying to do things right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grind from that line to that line, and we're gonna have us a bevel like that when we're finished. You can cut this with a torch, or you can just grind it. I'm gonna grind it since it's not that big. We got the train coming by. As you can see, we have a bevel on there now. Okay? So now I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna do the same thing. All right. When I put that together now, you can see we have that. That's gonna get filled up with weld, and then we'll grind it smooth, and it will be very strong that way. We're also gonna have gussets here on the sides. So these gussets here, okay? They're gonna sit right there like that. So we also need to bevel these. I'm not gonna mark these because I already know where to go, but you would just do the same thing I did there. See here we have the bevel there. I just need to do it on this now. Now, this is what's gonna go on top, and these gussets are gonna go flush with that. So I'm gonna have to do this gusset on both the top and the front, and then here too. Now, these gussets are 3 inches long, so I'm gonna need to come here and mark 3 inches. We'll go ahead and do it on both sides, since we're gonna be doing both sides. Okay. Now, we're going to use this drop piece of square tubing as a jig because this is 90. These corners are perfectly square and we want these to be perfectly square. So what we're going to do is put this up here. We're not going to worry about squaring it yet. Okay. I'm gonna put this right here and I'm gonna use this as a way to get me square. I don't want this touching, but there be a gap on this side because I'll be crooked. So I'm gonna put it up there till it's touching on both corners. I'm gonna clamp it. So right there, this is set where we want it. Now we need to do that to this one. The way I'm gonna go about that is I'm gonna use my straight edge. I'm gonna line up this with this. You can use it here like that and get them in line. And then on the front, we want it flush with the front of that plate we just squared. Right about there. Right there. Now if you're perfectly flush here and here, that's gonna put you square this way. As long as you have a square cut, which we do, so we're good. So what I would do now is I'd go in there and I would tack this into place. So I'm gonna get my machine. Now I am just using an 045 solid wire. I'm just going to tack it into place in each corner. here. If you notice, what did I do here? I left this edge sticking out past the end of the square tubing. You might ask why I did that. Metal wants to warp when you weld it. If I take this off right now, it could possibly move. So while it's still clamped down square, I'm gonna take my gusset and I'm gonna put it in there and I'm gonna tack it on too. And then I'll take it off and do the other side. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna keep this square with this. Okay. Now I've got it tacked in 3 spots. That's gonna hold it. I can let it go now and do whatever I want. See? Perfectly square. Nothing out of whack, no. So now I can take it and put it on the table. Get my other gusset, lay it up there. Okay. Now, as you can see, I've got this together. Look at those bevels. That's going to be welded up solid, flush with the front, flush across the top. We can't have any welds on the inside or what we're doing won't work. That's why all the weld has to be out here. That's why your bevels are a little deeper to compensate for not being welded back here. And as you can notice, I forgot to bevel them right here, but that's no big deal. All I have to do is bring it over here and put it in the vise. Lock it down in the vise. Take my grinder and bevel it out. Now this thing is ready to weld up. You never want to just weld something up solid. I'm not going to fill it up here, and then fill it. I'm going to put one pass through it all the way around, then we'll come back and finish it off. Now you can see I ran my first pass here, so now I'm going to turn it over and run my first one here on the opposite side. Now I'll go ahead and do this one. I'll just keep going until I get it filled up and using the same pattern I did. So I did just, these bevels are not as big as they look, so I did just weave a slightly uphill weld, filling up all of the bevels, and it protrudes. That weld's probably going to protrude about almost 1/8 of an inch above the metal, but that's what we want because we're going to grind that down perfectly smooth. You don't want it concave when you're done. You want it sticking out. So I have the weld sticking out all the way around. The bevels here, they're filled up. So I don't like to grind this down while it's super hot like this because it discolors the material. I just think you get a nicer, more professional job if you let it cool before. The next piece is the exact same thing, just different length material. This is a long one, this is a short one. But what I did here is exactly what I would do on the other one. So I'm not gonna bother showing y'all that because it's the exact same thing. If you follow what I did here, then you'll build the other one as well. I'm gonna let these cool. I'm gonna clean them up and then we'll have the finished product. So this is the second one I did that I said I wasn't gonna show y'all. I realized that this one was a tad different. As you can see on this one, these gussets came flush with the top of this plate, but these came a 1/2 inch up as a stopper for this not to be able to come apart this way. But all I did was bring them a 1/2 inch higher, and this part was beveled down in there. I welded it up, and then I just ground it smooth. You don't want to leave that weld there because you need that one to slide through it. So I got it as close to a 90 degree there as I could with my grinder, and I sanded it smooth, and it works really well. But on something like this with it sticking up, you can only bevel one side. You can't bevel this one because you're on a flat wall. So you just bevel the one with your corner and fill it up and smooth it out, and then you'll be good to go. All right, these things have cooled off. I've ground them up smooth and I've polished them a little bit just so they look better. Polishing them up isn't really something that's necessary for the job. You know, they're gonna get covered in dirt the first 10 minutes of use anyway. I just like them to look nice when they leave. It doesn't take but a few minutes to do, so something small like this, I'll do it. As you can see, you can no longer differentiate where they're put together. They're solid all the way around, both of them. This is the second one. They're completely smooth, and there's a lot of weld down in there. Like I say, if you just butt them together and weld them and then grind it smooth, well, you grind all the weld off and they're not gonna hold. But with them beveled the way I did it, you still have all that weld in there. So this one goes on top of this one. As you can see, our holes line up perfectly, our square holes. We have 3/4 inch carriage bolt that goes through here. And we'll put the bearing housing rod through here and through here, put them together, bolt them to the frame, and they're locked in place. They can't open and come apart. The one we're replacing was built like this, and it had no way to lock. But this way they lock in place. So they came out really nice. Pretty happy with them. Everything works perfectly. So just keep those tricks in mind when you have to go with sharp corners. I didn't have to go with sharp corners, but it looks more professional when you do. So that's what I like to do. There's other guys in our shop that wouldn't do this. I don't have complete control over what they do, but I have control over what I do. So that's how I do my work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later.